The rocks tore at my palms as I clung to the jagged cliff's edge, the wind howling in my ears, my heart pounding louder than the crashing waves below. My fingernails bent back, dirt caked beneath them, but I held on. "Dad!" I screamed, my voice ragged, breaking with terror. "Please, pull me up!" For a brief second, his shadow blocked the sun above me. Relief flashed through me. Maybe he would finally save me. But instead of reaching down, he bent his head, his lips curling into that familiar, cruel smirk. "You think you're worth saving?" His voice boomed against the cliff face. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. "Dad, please!" My legs thrashed against the empty air, my grip slipping. "I can't hold on!" He pressed the sole of his boot against my fingers. The sharp grind of gravel cut into my skin. Trash doesn't deserve to climb back up. And then he stomped. Pain shot through me, my scream echoing into the valley. I slipped, my body jolting downward, hanging now by 2 bleeding fingers. Above me, my sister Kaylee appeared, her glossy hair whipping in the wind. She leaned over, her laughter sharp as broken glass. "This is hilarious," she said, pulling out her phone. "Mom, come look. She's dangling like a rag doll." I turned my head, blinking through sweat and blood, and saw Mom standing a few feet back with her arms crossed, her face blank. "Let her fall," she said flatly. "Better to lose her than waste another meal feeding her." My chest caved in. They were all there, my entire family, watching, sneering, laughing while I fought for my life. Kaylee snapped photos, angling her phone to catch my desperate face. "This is going on my story," she giggled. Caption: "When garbage tries to be equal." Every second stretched. My arms shook violently, skin ripping raw against the cliff edge. The rocks below waited like hungry teeth. "Please," I sobbed, tears streaking down my dirt-stained face. "Please, I'll do anything, just don't let me go." Dad crouched down so his face was level with mine, his eyes burning with disdain. "Anything? You already are nothing. You've been nothing since the day you were born." Then he stomped again, his boot slamming into my middle fingers, snapping one back with a sickening crack. I shrieked, nearly losing my hold. Kaylee's laughter rose higher, Mom's lips curled into a cold smile, but just when I thought I was about to plummet, the ground shifted beneath me. A small pair of hands clutched at my shirt. My son, Ethan, no older than 6, had scrambled to the edge. His face was white with terror, tears running down his cheeks. "Mama, don't let go! I'm here!" "Get him away from there," Dad barked, but Ethan refused. His small arms strained, trying to pull me up though he was shaking with the effort. "I won't let them drop you, Mama! I won't!" he cried, his voice cracking. For a moment, I drew strength from his defiance. My hands, bloodied and torn, dug into the rock again. My muscles screamed. I tried to pull, but Dad shoved Ethan back with one harsh hand, sending him sprawling on the dirt. "You'll learn tonight," Dad growled down at me. "You'll learn that trash doesn't get second chances." He stomped one last time, ripping my grip from the stone. I fell. The scream ripped out of me as I tumbled, jagged rocks slashing across my arms, my back. The world blurred, sky, cliff, sea, sky again, until I slammed into a ledge halfway down. My body jolted with a force that knocked the breath from me. Darkness swallowed the edges of my vision, but I was alive. Broken, bleeding, barely conscious, but alive. Above, faint voices still carried. Kaylee groaned. "I thought she'd go all the way down." Mom replied coldly, "Doesn't matter. If she survives, it won't be for long. She'll crawl back up like a rat, and we'll stomp her down again." Their voices faded as they walked away, leaving me sprawled on the rock ledge, my son screaming for me from above, his little voice tearing my heart apart. "Mama! Mama, I'll get you! Don't leave me!" My eyelids fluttered. My chest heaved. My blood stained the stone beneath me, and in that moment, broken as I was, something burned inside me stronger than pain, stronger than fear. I wasn't going to crawl back up for them to stomp again. No, I was going to rise. And when I did, they would finally understand what it felt like to beg. On their knees. I don't remember how long I lay there on that rocky ledge, the salt wind stinging my open wounds, the roar of the ocean filling my ears. My body was torn and trembling, every breath a knife in my ribs. I thought I would die there, but then I heard it. A sound so small yet so piercing it cut through everything else. Ethan's voice. "Mama! Mama, don't close your eyes! I'll find you!" The panic in his cry jolted me awake. For him, I couldn't give in. Not here. Not like this. With every ounce of strength left, I dragged myself along the ledge to a narrow crevice. The stone tore deeper into my skin, but I wedged myself against the wall, out of sight from the cliff above. I pressed my cheek against the cold rock and whispered into the wind, "I'm not done, not yet." It was hours before help came. Not from my parents, not from my sister, but from a stranger, an older hiker who had heard Ethan's desperate screams along the trail. By the time they reached me, my face was pale, my arms torn raw, my hands mangled from where Dad's boot had crushed them. The hiker tied a rope and lowered himself, pulling me up while Ethan clung to my neck, sobbing uncontrollably. "I thought you were gone, Mama," he cried. "I thought they killed you." In that moment, I swore something to him. "No one will ever take me from you again, and no one will ever hurt you again." The hospital stitched me back together, but stitches can't fix broken trust. My parents didn't visit. Kaylee didn't call. When the doctor asked if I had family to take me home, Ethan and I exchanged a look. We both knew the truth. We had no family. When I returned to that house weeks later, scars still fresh, hands bandaged, they acted like nothing had happened. Dad sat in his recliner, beer in hand. Mom folded laundry at the table. Kaylee painted her nails. "You're still alive?" Dad grunted, not looking up. "Guess even garbage doesn't rot as fast as it should," Mom muttered. Kaylee smirked, shaking her head. "You should have just let go, sis. Would have saved us all the trouble." Ethan pressed into my side, his little hands curling into fists. I felt his anger, his fear, his hunger for justice. And I knew. They had no idea what they'd unleashed that day on the cliff. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just nodded slowly and carried Ethan upstairs. That night, as I tucked him into bed, he whispered, "Mama, they're not scared of anything." I kissed his forehead. "Then we'll give them something to fear." From that night forward, I changed. Every cruel word they threw at me became fuel. Every slap, every insult, every mocking laugh. I collected it like weapons, stored in silence. I noticed Dad's weakness wasn't strength. It was image. He thrived on the respect of neighbors, the illusion of being the strong, proud father. If that image cracked, so would he. Mom's pride was her reputation. She wanted everyone to think she was the perfect matriarch, the woman who raised a flawless family. The truth was her greatest enemy. And Kaylee? She lived for attention. Her phone was her lifeline. Without admiration, without envy, she was nothing but a spoiled girl with sharp words and a hollow core. So I waited, patiently, quietly. I began keeping records, not just in my notebook, but in whispers to people outside these walls, to neighbors, to teachers, to anyone who could see Ethan's bruised pride, the emptiness in his lunchbox, the truth in his eyes. At the same time, I let my parents believe I was still broken. I moved quietly through the house, head bowed, hands folded. They thought they had won. "See?" Dad said one night, smirking as I cleared plates. "Trash knows where it belongs now." Mom nodded. "Finally, she's learned her place." Kaylee leaned back, scrolling her phone, smirking at me. "Good. Maybe she'll stop embarrassing us." I said nothing, but inside I was smiling, because I knew something they didn't. They thought I'd fallen that day. But the truth? I'd been climbing back up ever since, and the higher I climbed in silence, the harder they would fall. The plan wasn't revenge in one moment. It was revenge in layers. I began to prepare Ethan for it too, not by filling him with hate, but with truth. "You're not trash," I told him every night. "You're worth more than all of them combined, and one day they'll choke on the words they threw at us." His little eyes hardened with determination. "I'll help you, Mama," he whispered. Weeks passed. My hands healed enough to grip again. My back stopped aching enough to stand tall. And with every day, the mask I wore for them grew more convincing. Until finally, the moment came. The family dinner where I would no longer be their victim. Mom announced it proudly, inviting neighbors, distant cousins, everyone who mattered to her fake reputation. "A true family gathering," she called it. Dad boasted about it at the bar. Kaylee bragged online. They had no idea they were planning the stage for their own destruction. And as I buttoned Ethan's shirt that evening, smoothing his hair, he looked up at me with wide, steady eyes and whispered, "Tonight?" I smiled. "Tonight." The house smelled of roasted meat and buttered rolls that night. Candles flickered on the table. Silverware gleamed and every chair was filled. Neighbors had come, old family friends, even Mom's church group. She'd wanted a full audience. Mom moved from seat to seat, smiling her false, sweet smile. "See? This is what family looks like," she told the guests, pouring wine into their glasses. Dad boomed with laughter at the head of the table, his voice carrying, "My family is my pride. Nothing stronger than us." He slapped Kaylee on the back like she was the son he always wanted, grinning as she beamed at the attention. "And me?" I sat quietly at the far end with Ethan beside me. He held my hand under the table, small fingers warm against mine. His eyes met mine, and I gave him the smallest nod. Tonight. Plates were served, heaping with roast and potatoes. But when it came to me and Ethan, Mom slid 2 empty bowls across the table. "You can eat later," she said sweetly, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You know, after the important ones are full." Laughter rippled through the table. Kaylee lifted her glass. "Cheers to knowing your place." For a moment, I let the laughter rise. Let them believe it was another night where they feasted while Ethan and I shrank into the corner. Then I stood. The laughter faltered. Every eye turned to me. "I brought something for dinner too," I said quietly. My hands didn't shake as I set a plain cardboard box on the center of the table. The neighbors glanced at each other, confused. Dad snorted. "What is this? Trash night already?" Mom tried to wave me down, hissing through her teeth. "Sit down before you humiliate us." But I stayed standing. Slowly, deliberately, I opened the box. Inside wasn't food. It was everything they'd buried me with. Ethan's torn sneakers, soles split open. His school lunchboxes with moldy crumbs still stuck inside. My hospital wristband from the night I was dragged half dead off the cliff. And on top, wrapped in a clear sleeve, the pages of my notebook. Every cruel word they'd ever thrown. At me, every moment I'd written down. Gasps rippled through the guests. A woman from Mom's church leaned forward, reading aloud from one page. "Trash doesn't deserve to climb back up." The words hung in the air like poison. Kaylee shot up, red-faced. "She's lying! She's twisting it!" But Ethan's small voice rang out, breaking the tension. "Grandpa stomped Mama's hands. Grandma slapped her. Auntie called me trash." His voice trembled, but he didn't stop. "They wanted her to fall." The room went dead silent. Dad roared, trying to stand, but his chair scraped back too hard. "Shut that boy up!" His face turned red, his fists clenching. "He's making stories." "No," I said, my voice cutting through the noise. I reached into the box and pulled out Kaylee's phone, the one I'd taken when she'd been drunk weeks earlier, the one she never thought I could get into. With a flick, I played the video I'd found. Her own voice filled the dining room, shrill and cruel. "This is hilarious. She's dangling like a rag doll." Caption, "When garbage tries to be equal." The neighbors recoiled. One man muttered, "My God!" Kaylee lunged across the table. "Turn it off. That was a joke." But it was too late. The mask was gone. Everyone had heard. Everyone knew. Mom's face went ghost white. Her church friends whispered furiously, their perfect image of her shattering with each word. Dad tried to pound the table, to bellow over the noise. "This family is strong! This family is—" "No," I said, stepping forward. "This family is rotten. And now everyone sees it." The weight of the eyes around him finally broke something in him. His voice cracked, his fists trembled, his breath came ragged. For the first time in my life, I saw fear in his eyes. And then he sank. His knees buckled beneath him, crashing onto the floor, his hands clutching at the tablecloth like it could save him. His chest heaved, his head bowed low, like a man begging without words. The same man who had stomped on my fingers while I clung to life now shook at my feet. Kaylee screamed, her perfect world crumbling. Mom tried to grab her church friend's arms, desperate. "Don't believe her. Don't believe any of it." But they pulled away, their disgust plain. I gathered Ethan into my arms, his face pressed into my shoulder, but his eyes peeked out, watching. He saw them broken. He saw them stripped of the power they'd wielded like a weapon. I looked down at Dad, his broad shoulders trembling. "You said trash doesn't deserve to climb back up." My voice was steady, cold. "But here I am, and here you are, on your knees." And with Ethan's hand gripping mine, I walked out of that house for the last time. The candles flickered behind me, the laughter gone, replaced by the sound of whispers, gasps, and the broken sobs of the family who had once left me dangling from a cliff. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.